and welcome to Soul Symbols. My name is Shelly. I'm a writer, an astrologer, and a card reader, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Happy Saturday. It is the weekly energy card reading. What that is you, the viewer, get to choose from one of 3 tarot or oracle decks. And from that deck, we'll go ahead and do a quick spread to see what the general energies will be like for the next 7 days. It does not need to be the week of April 10th through the 17th, 2021 in order for the messages to resonate. This reading is what we call a universal reading. So if you come across this reading at any time, there might be some messages contained. Now, one other thing that we'd like to do is in card reading, we have a saying. We say, take what resonates and leave the rest. If you feel like a message is not speaking to you, you can just leave it by the wayside. Also, there's different ways that you can kind of choose. You can kind of choose one from, you can kind of pick more than one pile. Or one other activity I like to do is I sometimes like to scroll through and stop, and then when almost like opening a book and pointing to a paragraph, there might be a message right there at that moment. So if you were drawn to this reading, there might be a message contained for you. Now, we're going to jump into the reading in a minute. The timestamps and the names and the authors of the decks that I use are always in the description box. So if you see anything you like, or if you want to jump straight to your reading, click on the hyperlinks in the description box. That's your fast pass. It'll take you straight to the reading. Now, you might see a little bit of a different camera angle today. I'm trying out something kind of new. Actually, I have a beautiful raw amethyst that's in my corner of my table as well. I have a little rearranging going on. If you follow my channel or if you follow my Instagram, I have a turntable. I have a record player in my prosperity corner. If you study feng shui, I study feng shui. And in feng shui, there are like areas of your room that help, that kind of pertain to different areas of your life. Like the prosperity corner is all about like abundance and windfalls and just all the things that you're grateful for in your life. And I did just have my my father's record player refurbished, and it's there right now. So you might see a little bit of rearranging and a few things displaced, but we're going to try to film as normal. And actually, one little side note is if you do study feng shui, or if it's something that you're interested in learning about, when you work on a table, like if you're working from home or if you have a desk at work, the gua, the bagua, the area that it's like a map that has corners, has squares that pertain. What it is you can put certain elements and certain colors in certain corners, certain areas, and it helps encourage a good flow of chi in that area. And your prosperity corner is always the upper right hand corner. So when you enter a room, or if you're at a desk, so if you're at a desk at work, if you want to look at your upper right hand corner, that corner likes the colors purple, gold, green, and red. And that is all about the things that you are thankful for in life, and it's like it's like the gravy in life, the good things, all the fruits, all the good stuff. But all right, enough blabbing. So I put my amethyst in my prosperity corner because I'm so grateful, and I'm excited to have be rearranging for for good things. And we're going to go ahead and jump into the reading. We have 3 decks here. As always, I keep my decks in rotation. If we haven't seen the deck in a little while, we're going to bring it back out. The first deck we have is the Linestrider Tarot by Siolo Thompson, and on top of it we have a beautiful blue fluorite. The second deck we have is the the Tarot of the Divine by Yoshitani, and on top of it we have a beautiful quartz point. The bottom of it is raw, the top of it is polished. And then the third deck is actually the very first deck I ever bought for tarot, and also the very first stone I ever bought for tarot. And so we have the Art Nouveau Tarot by Scarabeo, and on top of it we have a beautiful, we got the Empress. How beautiful is that? Oh, nice. I'm flattered. Truly. And on top of it we have a beautiful amethyst point. And today we're going to be clarifying using the Jane Austen. It's called the Jane Austen Tarot, but it's not a real tarot deck. It's it's an oracle deck. And on top of it we have a beautiful red jasper that's kind of a gradient. The colors go so well with that deck. My gosh. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do a quick freeze frame. If you need, please choose from your intuition, and if you need more time, please pause the video, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're back. I'm going to go ahead and move up these other decks. I do also post like daily energy card readings. I just pull cards periodically, and I post it on my Instagram. My Instagram is soulsymbols.yt, so soulsymbols.yt for YouTube, over on Instagram. And it's so interesting. We just in the last day or so, I posted some cards about water, and one of the cards that I got was the emerald. Like from my color deck, I got an emerald card, and it was in the reverse, and it's kind of like a daily energy card. And I'll tell you, while I was out and about today, I saw a street sign that said Emerald Avenue, and I saw a storefront that said, oh, Queen of Cups in the sun. Oh, I was having a happy emotional day. There you go. Thank you. See, the tarot speaks to us. But I saw the Emerald Tavern, and I saw a street sign that said the Emerald Avenue. So I got a lot of road signs today. So I hope today is a good reading, because I seem kind of in tune. All right, enough blabbing. But deck number 1, the Linestrider Tarot. What's our energy for the week? Let's find out. Okay, this really wants to come out. Okay, middle of the week. Getting a sense that by the, oh, okay, the Queen of Swords is trying to come out in reverse. So is the Eight of Pentacles. Oh, goodness, guys. Okay, end of the week. Okay, wow, we have a pair here. We have a lot of, please clarify. Okay, Page of Wands. Cups. Wow. Oh my goodness, guys. Okay, no worries. No worries. It's definitely some energy. You're dealing with some people this week. Okay, let's go ahead and get your clarifier. Star. The World. Okay. Wow. Ace of Diamonds. 2 diamonds cards. And these are very well shuffled, by the way, guys. Okay, just telling you. All right, so beginning of the week. Oh my goodness, guys. Okay, now beginning of the week, I really get the sense that this is your energy, and you got the King of Wands. And you can be male, female in this energy, but you're going to know what you want at the beginning of the week. The other thing that I get is that it's almost like you're going into the week. You know what I'm almost getting is like over the weekend, because this kind of starts on the 10th. Oh, by the way, this weekend is, oh, Holy Toledo, guys. It's a new moon. It's a new moon in Aries. No, is it a full moon in Aries? No, it's a new moon in Aries. And the King of Wands is very much a fire sign. But what I'm kind of feeling, what I sense with this is that I always think of, if you've ever read the book or seen the movie of the Chronicles of Narnia, I think of Aslan, and Aslan was a lion king, and he was very brave, right? He was very, he was brave. And what I'm kind of getting is, again, if you can be a male or a female in this energy, but I kind of get the feeling like over the weekend, it's almost like you're building up your courage to face something. Or maybe something is kind of starting on Monday and you're just kind of prepping, like you're gearing up, you're ready to be brave. You're ready to be brave. The other thing I kind of get is that the King of Wands, if you watch the How to Tarot and the King of Wands, they really, the King of Wands really knows how to, they know what they want, right? All the kings are the mature masculines of their suit. So they, it's interesting. They're mature, right? They've been through the page stage. They've been through the knight stage. They've been through their nurturing queen kind of stage. And by the time that you become the king, it's one of those things where you know how to take action. You've been around the block a few times, right? And it's one of those kings that I always think of it as I do also think of it like a stuntman or a military person, but I kind of think of it in that way. Like you might be older and mature, like you might have had a few I always joke, I always say this king probably has arthritis. But it's one of those things where you've probably jumped out of planes millions of times, but then if you decide to jump out of a plane, you know what you're doing, right? If you it's almost like you're careful, you're particular about the adventures that you go on, but the moment that you get something in your sights, you know what you want. And if you look at this expression, this person knows what he wants, right? And he's not going to say no, right? So what I kind of get is that I kind of get that you have a goal in mind, and this goal might require that you take action, and you are more than prepared to take action. But the other thing is, I am getting like you're gearing up. You see how this wand is at an angle? I think you're gearing up to be brave about something, but you have your eyes on the prize. So the beginning of the week, like the first couple weeks, first couple days of the week, maybe Saturday through Tuesday, and again, this is a new moon. The other thing is, I think you might be really channeling the energy from the new moon. You're feeling very Aries, right? And the other thing I get is that there's some kind of endeavor that you want to start off on a solid foot, but I feel like you're calling the shots. You're coming in like a lion. Like I'm here. You ever heard the expression, it roared in, like came roaring in like a lion? You're coming in with the power of your suit, so you're ready to take action about something. The other thing I get is that you're ready to be brave or show a lot of courage about something that you want to do. Now, this is interesting. In the middle of the week, we've got the Queen of Swords in reverse. And what happened was these cards came out and they were turning, like they were spinning on the table. And this is a very solid table. It's not like these cards like move on. These cards were really moving in the reverse. So I'm going to read them that way. But we've got the Eight of Pentacles and we've got the Queen of Swords. So I'm just going to come out and say it, guys. When the Queen of Swords is in the upright, and I'll even say, this is my significator card. The Queen of Swords in this deck represents, I always relate to. But when she's in the reverse, the Queen of Swords can be a really, really snippy witch, if you know what I'm saying. I'm being real kind here. She can be a verbally acidic, tear you down kind of person. And what I get here, and I'm going to be honest here, guys, you see how there's an Ace of Wands underneath and there's a fox. I think, and I'm just going to come out and say it, in the middle of the week, you're going to have to I'm getting the sense like you might have to stand up to someone. And what I'm getting the sense of is the fox. The fox gets kind of a bad reputation because foxes are seen as being sneaky or manipulative. But what foxes are is they're cunning, right? And the reason that they're cunning and the reason that they're self-interested, quote unquote, is because there's an essence of self-preservation, right? Foxes are not extinct, right? And there's a reason that they're not extinct is because they look after number one, right? So what I kind of see here is that I'm just going to come out and say it. I get a sense that there's someone around you that's probably not working, maybe not contributing. It's someone who's really sharp-tongued, someone who's really good at, the other thing I kind of get is someone who's good at justifying the reason that they don't work or the reason that they don't contribute. And what you're going to do is you're going to kind of say, look, the funny thing is you're not even telling this person that you expect them to work. You're just saying, look, I'm not going to support you anymore. I really get the sense like you're kind of, that this courage that you see at the beginning of the week is going to be, you're gearing up to deal with someone. Either that or in the middle of the week you are forced to deal with someone who isn't. The other thing I get is that this person is kind of good with their words. Like they're almost good at they're good at justifying why they're not contributing and not working. But what I'm kind of getting here is that I get the sense that you might have to have a conversation, like I'm getting a come into Jesus meeting, because you see that same rod is in both things. I get the sense like you almost have to approach someone and say, look, I'm going to look after me. If you're not going to, and you're not, the funny thing is you're not even giving them an option. You're just kind of telling them you're not working hard enough. And what I'm getting is this person's going to probably give you a little bit of a verbal tongue thrashing. This person's going to be pretty nasty. And I think you almost expected this person to be nasty. And I'm sorry to say that. I think you would know who I'm talking about. The only other way that I can kind of read this is that maybe someone, you might be dealing with someone who's really kind of going off at the mouth, like who's being very immature with their words, but being honestly, the Queen of Swords in reverse is a flat out witch. Like, she is nasty. Like, she will. It's not even just a tongue lashing. She will totally tear you down with words or accusations, or just she'll ream your ass out. And the Eight of Pentacles is really about not being industrious, right? It's about, honestly, it's about someone who's a little bit of a slacker. And what I'm kind of seeing here is that I kind of see that you're kind of telling this person, I'm not gonna deal with your slacker bullshit anymore. Pardon my French. And it's you taking a stand against this behavior. But I do think you're going to get a hell of a lot of pushback, and that's why you're coming in the king energy, is because a king can trump a queen, right? A king can handle a queen. But the queen in the reverse is quite nasty. And again, in the upright, I've done previous videos. In the upright, this is my card. So I completely understand, but in the reverse, the Queen of Swords is, she like spouts venom. So the only other way I can kind of read this is maybe if you're in some kind of leadership position, someone is going to be an almighty pain in the butt in the middle of the week, and it's almost like, because it's almost like you have to approach them about, the other thing I kind of get is with the fox being on the ace. I really get the sense like you have to tell somebody, you have to approach someone and say, look, I'm going to go do what I need to do. It's like a fresh start. And again, the same rod is in both pictures here. So kind of tells me I'm taking a fresh new start. I'm making a stand. The reason I'm making a stand is because you're not doing anything to contribute. I really get the sense that this is somebody who really likes to manipulate with words. But you're ready to handle this person, but it's just going to take a lot of, it's almost like you have to build up your energy to deal with this person, and they're going to flare up really badly in the middle of the week. I think you got it handled, but the other thing I kind of get is, it's almost like, the other thing I get is that you almost have to evade this person, not to sound strange, but I'm seeing text messages, like you might have to mute conversations. If this person's blowing up your phone, you might have to block them temporarily. But you're going to take a stand for this. The only other thing that I see is that it's quite possible that you might have like a little bit of an interaction with either a colleague, if this is a work situation. But but I do get the sense that this person's going to be giving you pushback, and they're going to be hella nasty verbally, just because they're not really pulling their weight financially. That I get the sense like this person just doesn't want to either work, or the other thing I get is that they're doing, the other way I see this is that someone's doing a really kind of half-assed job at something. Like they might say, oh, well, I'm doing my job, but they're not. They're just kind of slacking. But with the fox being on the Ace of Wands, I really think that you want to look after your own interests. You don't want to take care of this person anymore. And you have to come in King's energy. Now, this can be two women. Totally can be two women. You can be in a King's energy and dealing with a Queen of Swords. Now, by the end of the week, this is interesting, guys, is that you see that there's a couple here, right? It's a King and Queen of Swords, except the King is in the upright, and you see the Queen, you see how his back is turned to him, and he looks like ice crystals, right? I think because wands are action, like fiery action, like going forth. I think by the end of the week, you might have to actually really kind of cut somebody out. And I hate to say it that way, but you're going to have to become the Frost King. And again, it's like a counterpart to him, to the Queen of Swords. I do get the sense that the two kings are your energy. But by the end of the week, and I don't think that you mean to be this way, but the King of Swords is cerebral. He's in his head, right? And I almost get the sense like calculated, right? I'm getting a strong sense, and you see how these two kings are facing the same direction? You took action, you took the action, you said, okay, I'm looking after me, you're going to get hella pushback. And then it's almost like you almost have to kind of turn your back on this person. And the other thing I kind of get is you have to play their game, but you're doing it in the upright. You're doing it in the upright. So again, this person might be trying, again, I'm seeing kind of like blowing up a phone or trying to send like messages or trying to leave voicemails, and you're not having it. That's the other thing I get. Cold turkey. You're not having it. The other thing is you kind of see how there's a bird right there, and he's just like, he's all spiky and not even paying attention. Like, I get the sense that you might have to be a little cold, and not in a mean way, but it's almost like it's what you got to do, and by the end of the week you're really sticking to it. And this is interesting, guys, because the root energy, you got the Nine of Wands, and there's another fox. There's another fox, and look how beat to hell this poor fox looks, right? And then next to it, you have the Seven of Wands, and look at all that conflict. There's fighting animals, and it's kind of like you're on a ledge. Now, if this is work related, it could be someone that you're partnered with or someone that you have to deal with that you might be really disagreeing with. But I'll tell you, the biggest way that you can tell the difference is this person is going to be like popping off at the mouth in a real negative way. Like they'll be doing all the negative Queen of Swords things. Like they'll be blowing up your phone, sending you nasty, I call them nasty grams. Anytime you get that email that's just kind of snarky as hell, and it's not concealed, right? It's not even sugar coated. It's just like, and you're just like, oh my God, you know, shut up, you know. And it is like, you know, okay, bye, you know. You're just, the only way that you can, it's you've heard of fighting fire with fire, you're fighting ice with ice. And so I do see that, you know, the thing I kind of get is that you almost expected, I get the sense like you expected this backlash. But with this many court cards, I'm almost getting the sense like this could be, I mean, this could be relationship wise. It could be a family. I get the sense, but what I'm really seeing is it's almost like, I'm sorry. I am hearing kind of the song Selena Gomez of Cut You Off. You know, I just cut you off. Kind of like I almost like I cut you off, you know, communication wise. I'm getting a strong cut off of communication. But I almost get the sense like you were prepping for it, and then the bomb hits in the middle of the week, and by the end of the week it's just, you know, riding out the aftermath, right? Because so the Seven of Wands is you holding back. You have everything. The other thing I get is that this might have set off some kind of, this might have really detonated. These two cards really talk about like holding down the fort, like really holding back against a lot of opposition. So I don't know, maybe you might very well be dealing with some kind of situation where the other thing is anytime you get into a tiff with someone, you know how sometimes their friends or family gets involved and you're just like, oh God, does this have to be a war? You know, does this have to turn into, well, I'm still friends with them. Are you still friends with them? You know, does it have to be that way? Come on, can't we? But the thing is, you know, I would say if these two cards were in the upright, I'd say, can't we handle this like adults? The moment I see the Queen of Swords in the freaking reverse, it's like, no, we can't handle this like adults because this person is juvenile. This person is you know, the Ice Queen, right? But and it's interesting, underneath the King of Swords in the upright, you have the Page of Wands, and you've got Judgment. And you see how Judgment is blind? Wow, guys. Now, this might involve a child. I'll just be honest. What it is like, it's almost like if you're dealing with someone who's really being kind of nasty, it's almost like I get the sense like you're sticking it out, and it's almost like you're taking hits because you have to, because there's another innocent involved. And the other thing I kind of get is like you almost feel like this is a little bit of your karma or something. But the other way that I kind of read it is that this, again, might just be, if there's no children involved, this is just fallout from you telling someone what you want, and you really have to see it through. You have to stick it out. And again, these two cards are of the same suit. So this isn't to say that, I mean, who knows, this might shake out. You know, this might just be like a tiff. But I'll tell you, the Queen of Swords in reverse is no joke. You know, you don't, of all the queens, to see her in the reverse, I'm like, oh shit. You know, oh God, I'm sorry. you know, and especially with the Nine of Wands and the Seven of Wands, it's almost like you have to stick it out. The other thing that I kind of get is with the Page of Wands, it's almost like you think that by the weekend, you know it's worth it. Like you know that this new thing that you're going towards is what you're called to go towards, right? It's what you're meant to go forward towards. Now you got two cards. You got the World, which talks about like the ending of a cycle, right? And then you've got the Star, which is the Jack of Pentacles, and the Jack of Pentacles really does talk about slow movement. But this is really great. The star in this deck is Jane Fairfax, and she's so pretty. But it says, Jack of Diamonds, the Star, Hope. Jane Fairfax in Emma was orphaned as a girl, yet she grows up to sing, play piano, sew, and marries happily. And actually, if you've ever seen the movie Emma, there's a new version of the movie Emma, and that has Anya Taylor-Joy in it. But if you watch Jane Fairfax, she really is, she's an underdog, right? And that's what the Nine of Wands is. It's an underdog. Things will get better. You're completing a cycle. But I think it's also just kind of telling you, the other thing about Jane is that she had some really tough moments in her life, but she persevered with a lot of dignity, right? She didn't compromise herself. So that's the one thing I see. These are kings and queens, right? And you've got two kings here. I think you are very mature. And I think you're going to stick to what you want and what you know to be right. Right? Right. Okay. And then the other one is you got the World. Completion. One deserves a bouquet when a demanding endeavor has come full circle to success. Oh my gosh. All right, guys, buy yourself some flowers. Either that or buy yourself, by the end of the week, get yourself some little treat. And because I do think that you're still going to be fighting off the backlash of standing up for yourself, but you're being called in the right direction. Right? It is. Again, you're innocent like a child. You're being called towards the direction you're meant to go. So if it means pissing off the Queen of Swords in reverse, so be it. You know, just stick to what you know to be good, what you know to be right, because you got two kings here, right? And again, kings are one step up from a queen, and especially when the queen is acting out in the reverse. The other thing that's about judgment that I love is judgment is a calling, right? It's calling you to do what you need to do. And it might be tough, but the other thing is that the Nine of Wands and the Seven of Wands really, I think by the end of the week, you're going to be worn out. You're going to be fighting the good fight, but keep fighting the good fight because you're at the end of the cycle, right? And definitely, if you get a chance, they've been playing Emma on cable. You know, if you get a chance to watch Emma, pay attention to Jane Fairfax. She's very quiet and she's very humble, but she had a tough life. And everything turns out okay for her in the end. Everything will turn out okay for you in the end, too. I think that the other thing I'll caution about is that the King of Swords can be kind of up in his head. So by the end of the week, if you're starting to get down on yourself or you're starting to feel really like, you know, you see how battered this person is, you know, you see how this fox is just beat up. You know, try to be good to yourself. You know how it says buy yourself flowers? Try to do something nice for yourself by the end of the week. Just to know that, you know, wherever your instinct is telling you to go is the right direction. So don't be afraid. Just keep on trucking. All right, so deck number 2, we've got the Tarot of the Divine by Yoshitani. And these are all fairy tales, too. This is a great deck. So beginning of the week, my deck number 2, folks. Clear quartz, okay. Okay. Okay, put clarify in the 9 of coins. And end of the week. Oh my gosh, Justice. Okay. And let's go ahead and get your clarifier. And both of these decks are made by the same publisher, so the card stock is very similar. It's very nice. It's very nice. It has like if you look closely at it. Thank you. Oh, nice. You got the 2 of Hearts. How cool is that? That's so neat. All right. Wow, guys. So, beginning of the week, you got the Three of Wands. And the Three of Wands is really, usually it's a card about waiting or, like kind of waiting for your ships to come in. But here you see this person kind of climbing a ladder, like almost like she's going through an obstacle course. So what I'm kind of seeing is, I see by the beginning of the week, there's some kind of goal that there's something that's about to bear fruit, so to speak, and actually you kind of see that with the middle of the week. But there's something that's there's something that you've kind of there's some kind of endeavor that you've been waiting to kind of come through for you, right? Um, this could be some kind of project at work. It could be something that you're doing with your family. But I just kind of get the sense like it's almost like you feel like you're in an obstacle course because it's like you're you're trying to expedite the delivery of this boon, right? It's like you're trying to help things along. So I get the sense that by the beginning of the week, and also I mentioned in the first deck, at the beginning of the week, we are going to have a new moon in Aries, which is a very active sign, and we still have kind of a pretty big stellium of Aries planet, a lot of fire in the air, in the sun, the Mercury, and the Venus. And then the moon will be there too. So there'll be quite a few planets in Aries. And actually, I kind of get the sense like fire signs in general have been waiting a long time. So I kind of relate this to the Three of Wands. We've been in pandemic mode. We've been cooped up inside. Even going outside to get activity has been a little bit difficult. And then, now that springtime rolls around, and it's Aries season, it's like, oh my God, can I just go out and do fun things and not be, because like, that the house and family life is really the Cancer of the sun sign in astrology, the sign of Cancer, and then work and making a living is more public recognition is the realm of Capricorn, and then what's the last one? I'm sorry, why am I drawing a blank? Air. Oh, Libra. That's me. Sorry, forgetting myself. Literally. But Libra is, about relationships and about dating and all the lovey-dovey stuff. So the actual going out into the world and doing activity things, like maybe you mountain climb, maybe, there's just, activities that you do just for yourself. Maybe you're an athlete. But I am kind of getting a sense by the beginning of the week, it's almost like you have some projects that you've been waiting to get off the ground and probably waiting a long time. And you're finally just kind of, it's almost like you're ushering it along. But there's things that you have to do to help get, I'm getting a sense of like you're waiting for something to come in order to help bring it in faster. There's something that you have to do. And again, this you can apply this to family life too. Like, maybe you have a child who's applying for school and you're like, oh God, I have to get all their applications out. I have to pay for their first semester. It's almost like you're rushing. You feel like you're jumping through hoops to help get this result that you're looking for. So the beginning of the week is kind of that energy, and you'll know what that pertains to, right? This could be work related, it can be family related, but again, you're trying to get the outcome that you need. If you are a business owner, it can be something like maybe you're gathering up paperwork for something, or you have a deadline for something, and in order for it to happen, you have to have all of your ducks in a row. So you feel like you're rushing around a little bit at the beginning of the week. Now, the middle of the week is really interesting energy. You've got the Nine of Coins, and we even talked about it, like the, waiting for the fruits of your labor here. And you see this guy is holding a watermelon, and the Nine of Coins is a very financially independent energy. And what's interesting is underneath it you have the Devil and you have the World. So the World is really about completing a cycle, and the Devil is really about codependency. So, and these are some major arcanas, guys. So this is some heavy energy. It's some strong energy. But what I kind of see here is like Now, there's kind of two ways I can kind of read it. The first way is in a financial sense because these are pentacles. I do get the sense that, again, maybe you were gathering up paperwork, or maybe it can be something like selling a home and you doing the final things to get, get everything done. And the world is about a completion of a cycle, and the devil is really about codependency. So it could quite possibly mean that you might be paying off someone, like maybe you owe money to someone and it's really been hanging over your head, and that's why you've been jumping through hoops. You see how this kind of looks like the same kind of sticks there? Maybe you've been jumping through hoops to finally get someone off your back, and to get out of a codependent kind of circumstance, and that can be financial or something like that. And it's almost like you're rejoicing, because this almost looks like the same person. The fact that this is two people here and then one person, you just to read it this way, I mean, you could be buying someone out of something, like maybe if your partner's in a business, if this is relationship related, because we have quite a few partner cards here. We got the Two of Cups, the Two of Hearts. You might feel a little codependent. This could be like an ex-spouse kind of situation where you're waiting to be financially independent of someone, but by the middle of the week I really get the sense, like with the world being the root and then the devil, I get the sense like you're finally getting out of a codependent relationship, or you're working to do that, and you feel like you're finally making headway with it by the middle of the week, right? The other thing that I kind of get is that with the world, sometimes that can mean that you think somebody is the world. So it's possible that you might be obsessing over someone who's very financially independent. You might think that that they are your world, right? Like really kind of put them up on a pedestal. But I really get the sense this is your energy, and it's almost like you're offloading, or you're working really hard, or you're trying to expedite the payoff of either some kind of loan, or you're trying to complete a cycle with someone that will give you financial independence, and you feel like by the middle of the week you're going to feel like that's actually coming to you by the middle of the week. Like, okay, you might still owe them a little bit, but it's not going to be like the full amount, right? Or you might be not completely be dependent on them. Now, the end of the week is really interesting here, guys. You've got the Ace of Coins, and you've got Justice. And what I love about Justice is, look, you see how he's holding up a coin? You know what I'm almost getting, guys, is it's almost like maybe you were in some kind of financial arrangement that's finally coming to a close, and it's making you feel real good. Like, it's like, okay, finally I can get out from underneath the thumb of this really kind of oppressive situation. And justice is like justice being served, right? And you see how the Ace of Coins is Jack and the Beanstalk. It's almost like you walk away with one coin, maybe you started with 9 and you walk away with 1, but you've used the other 8 to pay off. And the 8 of Coins is about working hard too. I think by the end of the week, I think you actually are. You're finally getting financial freedom from something, or you no longer feel dependent on something. And the other thing I get is that the one thing about the Jack and the Beanstalk story is that he was supposed to use the money to buy a cow, and he uses it to buy magic beans instead. And but justice is about justice being served as well. If you've done wrongdoing, then you will stand trial and be held accountable. But if someone else has done wrongdoing to you, or if you owe money back to them, then this justice again will be served. The scales will be balanced. So I do think that, again, this is very positive energy. I just get the sense like you feel free. Honestly, I know this kind of sounds kind of strange. I'm getting kind of that feeling like you paid off some kind of major debt, and it's and it's like it's almost like, okay, we're even now, right? Justice has been served. You have been compensated. I'm good. I have one coin left over that I can start something new, right? And I just get the sense by the end of the week, that's how you feel. You feel like you have that coin to start something new and something magical. Um, you know, the other thing that I kind of get is that, I mean, this could be where someone owes you money, but I am almost getting the sense like I get the strong feeling like by the middle of the week you're getting something kind of off your back, and then you're kind of, because you've served, just because justice is, I keep hearing justice has been served, and the way he's holding up that one coin is kind of like, this is my coin, you know. By God and by law, this is my coin, right? If I want to go buy magic beans with it, the sky's the limit, right? The other thing I get is that I get a real excitement about that. You see how that coin is glowing, you know, like you have a sense of real optimism and possibility about your future, even though it's just one coin. It's your coin, right? No one else has claim to it, and that's how you're going to be feeling by the end of the week. Now, the oracle card you got the Two of Hearts, which is moderation. An elaborate dinner party consists of many dishes for each course, but restraint is key to contentment. Oh, wow, guys. So with this, I get the sense like it's almost kind of saying, you know, here in the middle of the week you had the Nine of Coins, and by the end of the week you had just one left. So I think it is just kind of telling you, you know, maybe you got in kind of over your head with a previous situation, and then you had to kind of scramble to get out of it. It might be kind of cautioning you just to say, okay, try to learn from this, right? Again, you know, try to learn the justice, you know, because these are majors, right? You got three majors, you know. Try to take the lesson away from this, you know. The other thing is that if you did end up like owing someone money or getting into a like a codependent situation, kind of monitor those desires. Because the other thing about Jack and the Beanstalks is that he was very impulsive, right? He was impulsive. That's why he came home with magic beans and not the cow that he was sent to go get, right? So here it's kind of telling you, yes, that is your coin. You know, be excited about your coin, but maybe try to be mindful about how you got yourself in over your head before, and you know, try to not let that happen again. The other way I kind of see it here too is that if this is kind of because the other thing I see is a little bit of feast or famine here, you know. So it's one of those situations where if you did get your paycheck, try to be mindful. You know, don't spend it all in one place. Don't have a hole in your pocket. And just like it says here, you know, a feast is delicious, but it's so much better when you have it in moderation, right? You can always have enough if you spread it out and don't overindulge in things. But I do see by the end of the week, you feel a lot of positivity. The other thing is that I really feel like, I get a strong sense by the end of the week, it's almost like you feel like anything is possible. You're ready to invest, and go forth. Um, um, and it's almost like that's your right? Like, you know, no one can take that away from you, right? But wow, guys, oh my gosh, that was interesting. That was really a cool reading. All right, so last but not least, we have the Art Nouveau, Tarot Art Nouveau by Lo Scarabeo. That rhymed. And we have a beautiful amethyst point. So let's go ahead and see. This is the first deck I ever bought for tarot, and the first stone as well. Beginning of the week. We'll go with the top card. Okay, middle of the week, please. We'll go with the top card. Okay, end of the week. Okay, end of the week energy, please. Oh, okay, can we clarify the Ten of Wands, please? Interesting. We got the Queen of Swords coming out again. Queen of Swords came out in the first deck, and she came out in the reverse. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what's our Oracle card. Oh my gosh, you saw that. Wow. Woo! We got a flyer. Oh, 5 of Cups. All right, 5 of Hearts. Okay. Oh gosh, guys. Okay, so we also have a King and a Queen in this deck. Ooh, interesting. The first deck we had the King of Wands in the beginning of the week, and we had the Queen of Swords in the middle of the week. So it's kind of similar energy. I don't know if we have cross watchers. So, beginning of the week, we've got the Ten of Wands, and underneath it we've got the Moon. So we've got some strong energy. You have 2 majors this week. But beginning of the week, so this is kind of starting over the weekend. I mentioned in the other decks, we do have a new moon that is going to be in Aries over the weekend. I think it should be like Saturday, Sunday-ish. I'm sorry if I don't know the exact date. But and that's in astrology we call that a stellium. Anytime more than one planet is in a certain sign. So like the sun has been in Aries because it's Aries season. And then, the moon will be in Aries, Mercury is in Aries, and Venus is in Aries. So we've got a lot of fire energy. And I had mentioned in the other piles, that's a lot of exciting energy because we've been all cooped up, right? Between pandemics, if you're watching this at the time the video posts, between pandemics and other things, our fire signs have probably felt really stifled, right? Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, they haven't been free to run loose. They probably, it just hasn't been their time, right? They haven't had their freedom to play. And there's always, it's funny, there's always transits in the sky. Like, for instance, Saturn has been in Capricorn. It just finally moved into Aquarius, but Pluto has been in Capricorn too, and it's a real killjoy. It's like it's a natural square to Aries energy, and it just makes you feel really, it just, all of your natural exuberance feels like you can't let it out, right? Like if you're an athlete and people will look at you like, how dare you go outside without a mask, you're like, okay, yeah, I am, but I'm an athlete, and it's just one of those things where I think the fire signs have probably been really stifled, right? And what happens to fire when you take away all its air, right? Its ability to run around and breathe, it suffocates, right? Fire goes out. But in the beginning of the week with the Ten of Wands and the Moon, I get a sense of like exhaustion, right? The Ten of Wands is taking on too much, taking on too much, right? Maybe you're taking on the chores or the responsibilities of other people. Maybe you just have a lot going on with your family or with work. The other thing that I kind of get is with this being the moon, maybe this new moon, maybe all this Aries energy is a square to you. Like if you're a sun or if you have the sign of Cancer in your chart or Capricorn in your chart, Libra. I know this time of year, I'm a sun sign Libra and I have a moon in Cancer. And, springtime is a wonderful time, of course. I love Easter. I really get a kick out of it. But it definitely feels like a low energy, like a low tide type of time. Like I really do. I go into hermit mode. I'm not really productive. I kind of just, I let the Aries have their time, right? Because it's almost like it's not my energy right now. It's a little bit of a teeter totter when it's a Libra Aries axis. They're the opposite of me. So let them be the trailblazers. Let them run around like crazy people, and later when I have more energy, I'll catch up, right? But it's kind of that energy. But one thing I'm really drawn to is that both of these women look like they're wearing kind of like really loose kind of garments. So one thing I'm kind of getting from this is that I really get the sense, and this is kind of strange, guys, but starting over the weekend and the beginning of the week, I get the feeling like you're exhausted, but you can't sleep. right? That's what I'm getting. It's almost like you're really it's the kind of that really kind of scary kind of lethargy. Maybe you're staying in your pajamas like all day. Um, the other thing that I kind of get is that if this is work or family related, like you're feeling really low energy, you're feeling really bogged down. The other thing is that the moon can make you feel real fuzzy, right? It can make you feel like you don't know where to go or what to do. But what I'm really getting is with the expression on this woman's face, I'm getting that strong, like I have a million things to do today, but I just don't even want to get out of bed. The other thing that I kind of get with the moon underneath is it's like, again, I get a strong sense that maybe all of this Aries energy is just not your cup of tea. Maybe it is a square to your planets, or that you're taking on a lot right now, and that you just don't have a whole lot of energy to get anything done. The other thing that I kind of get is that those are the times in life when you start questioning, and believe me, we've all been there. I do that a lot too. Sometimes I will lay awake in bed at night and be like, is what I do every day, and I know this sounds really bad. This sounds really blue, right? And it is, you see a lot of blue in this card, but sometimes you start thinking, okay, well, what's the use? Life starts to feel a little bit like the dirge, right? You get up, you do the laundry, you go to work, you do the thing, you come home, and then you're just worn out, right? And you start questioning. And the thing about the moon is that the moon really makes you feel like a little adrift, right? That's the word I'm getting for. You're going to feel a little adrift. Now, you're still going to get up and do what you got to do, but you're going to feel really tired. The other thing that I get is that it almost feels like you're taking on more right now. Maybe, it's funny. I have a friend who has 3 kids, and I can only imagine when you've got 3 little ones and different ages too. And her day starts at like 7 in the morning, and she's like, "Oh my God, we've had 3 changes of clothes, and it's not even 7 a.m." And that's just with one of the kids. It's kind of like that energy. It's kind of like, "Oh God, what do I do? I don't know what to do. All I can do is get up and do what I got to do." Right? I know that makes no sense, but that's you just feel like I think you're going to feel a little plodding along. Now, it is encouraged that if you can delegate a little bit, I do think you're feeling a little overwhelmed. Maybe, if it is family related, maybe you can ask, grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends to kind of help you out while, especially if you're feeling really low energy. The other thing is that if this is family related, I'm getting a strong sense of family related with the moon. Maybe you can kind of put a little bit of the responsibility back on the child, on to the extent and at the level that they are emotionally able to handle it. If the child is old enough to fold their own laundry, be like, "Hey, I don't need to fold your laundry. I would like you to do it. It would really help me out," right? And to take one last rod, take one wand off your plate. The other thing I kind of get is that I get the sense like, um, I get the sense like you're trying to follow your instincts, but you do feel a little lost, right? The other thing I get is that I think by the beginning of the week you might be working so hard, you might be kind of having funny dreams, like funky dreams. I know that sounds crazy, but I know that it's funny. I know that I need a vacation, not even want a vacation. I need a vacation the moment that I start having dreams about being at work. If I have a dream about being at work and then I wake up and have to go to work, oh, heck to the no. I got to put in for a day off soon. It doesn't have to be that week, but it has to be like, look, my brain is, so maybe that's kind of what's going on. The other thing is it seems like your subconscious, because you see it's like your subconscious is trying to reach out to you to try to alleviate you a little bit. Now, by the middle of the week, it's interesting. You go from 10 wands to 9. So I think you're probably trying to amp down a little bit. But underneath it, you got the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords in the upright is a very good person. She does talk about enabling boundaries. So it's quite possible, if this is like a work situation, by the middle of the week, you're going to be like, you see how she kind of has that sword where she's kind of leaning? Instead of being like this woman who's just in her pajamas all day long, she's like, okay, I got dressed today, but this is how we're going to have to do things moving forward, right? Because I'm not going to, I'm not going to be drained all day, every day, right? The other thing is that the Nine of Wands is about putting up a fight, right? It's about fighting the good fight. It's about, refusing to give in. So I do think by the middle of the week, you are starting to, I think you're trying to handle what's going on. Like the other thing is I think that you're trying to think it through. Like you're trying to establish boundaries, or you're trying to, the other thing that I get is you're saying, with the Queen of Swords, maybe you're trying to create some kind of structure, so that you don't get burned out, so that you don't, it's funny when the moon pops up in a reading. I honest to goodness, I feel like sometimes the moon pops up in the reading when my intuition is screaming at me that something needs to change, right? But it's almost like you don't know if you can trust that intuition, right? Of course, you're when you're burnout and tired, your subconscious is going to be like, hey, let's pick up and move to South California, Southern California, you can do it. You don't want to jump to extremes, but it is almost like you feel lost, right? You don't know the direction. You know what I get with this combination? It's almost like, you're exhausted, but what else can you do, right? And then it's like that's when you start having funny dreams, because your subconscious is trying to give you a direction, but it's not like a concrete plan. It's like it's just a bunch of lower, instinctual symbols, right? So I think by the middle of the week, it's almost like you're still in that worn out energy, but it's almost like you have a little bit, you've garnered enough energy to try to figure out a plan, right? The other thing is that I do think that maybe you are starting to maybe communicate your needs or establish a few boundaries. Again, with that sword, it could be like, look, I can't, I think you are starting to communicate, okay, I can't continue to work this way. I'm going to become burnt out. The other thing that I kind of get is that, the Queen of Swords is, she's not a mean person, but she's very direct. She'll tell you what she's thinking, right? And with the Nine of Wands, it is almost like her saying, you do kind of see two people here too. So if this is like work or family related, you see how this person is kind of just looking at, maybe that person is walking up to you and being like, hey, I know you've been working a lot, but can you do this? And you're going to come back like, no, I've already taken on too much. I need to amp down. So you're going to continue. The other thing is that the Nine of Wands is about like hidden reserves of energy. So I think in the beginning of the week, you're just going to be kind of adrift and exhausted. By the middle of the week, you're going to have a little bit more energy. You're still going to it's almost like you're mustering enough energy to kind of push through, but you are going to start putting up a little bit of boundaries. The other thing is I kind of get that you might start having a plan as to if something's been wearing you out, you're going to try to get away from that or try to make things better. And the other thing I get is that if you are a woman watching this, I think you're going to start being communicative about it. Like maybe you were just, doing all of your chores, doing all your tasks, and not saying anything, thinking that, okay, well, what am I supposed to do? I just got to continue doing what I'm doing. You don't. If you're overwhelmed or tired, you say something, right? So maybe in the middle of the week, you start to say something. The one other way that I kind of read it is that, with the Nine of Swords, is that maybe there was something that just kept coming at you, and you're finally you're gonna step up and say, look, I'm not backing down. I'm gonna continue to do this, right? But by the middle of the week, you are pretty worn out. The first half of the week is going to be a little bit of low energy, very low energy. Now, at the end of the week, this is really interesting, guys. You got a lot of fire at the end of your week. Now, you got fire throughout your week, but it's definitely more, It's interesting. You're kind of going from, 9 and 10 into like you've got the Magician and you got the King of Wands. This is really interesting, guys. Now I kind of read this one of two ways. Either by the end of the week, if this could be a spouse, with this being the King and the Queen of Wands, um, your spouse really could be coming through. Like the magician is the manifester, right? The magician's the manifester. He has all of the elements on the table. So this could be a boss. Maybe a boss is, if this is work related, maybe a boss has seen how you've been just, burning the candle at both ends. And this person's going to try to come up with a new solution. Almost like a transition, like using all of the resources that they have already. You by the end of the week, you might have someone approach you that is offering you a new solution to something. Now, if this is your energy, it's almost like you're getting kind of tough about your situation. It's like, okay, I get the sense like you're coming out of the lethargy, right? Instead of just rolling over and dreaming and thinking about what you want to do differently, I think by the end of the week, you're actually going to take action. Both of these cards are really about taking action. I mentioned in the first deck, because they also got the King of Wands. King of Wands, when he gets his eye on the prize, he's the mature masculine of their suit. He takes action. And what it is that I always joke. I think the King of Wands probably he's like the daredevil that grew up, right? He went through the page phase. He went through the knight phase. He's had adventures. I always kind of joke, this is probably the king that has arthritis. He's the ones who's climbed mountains, jumped out of planes, probably been shot a few times. And what it is that once he became a king, it's not that he dislikes doing all of that thrill seeking stuff. It's just he just kind of reserves his strength for the projects that he wants to do. If it's like, oh well, I've jumped out of a plane a million times, I don't want to do that this week, I don't feel like it, then he won't. He's the king, right? But if he sees a solution to something, if he says, oh my god, okay, that's a good idea, it's almost like the energy, like a light switch, it flips, and he gets that tunnel vision, like, okay, I found something I want to do, right? And there's no stopping the king. So I really kind of get the sense that this could be your energy, either that, or this could be a spouse who's offering you a solution, or a boss that's coming to you and saying, hey, okay, to make this different, to make this easy on you, let's use the resources we already have. If this is your energy, you're going to see a solution, and it's almost like it's almost like if there wasn't someone out there to offer solution to you, you're going to come up with one with the resources that you already have. Like if you've been doing some kind of job and you say, okay, well, I already do this, I already do that, I already do this, what if we do, take the element from this and element from that, and then make things easier, right? Like I'm hearing work smarter, not harder, right? I get the sense like you get an idea of something, and then it's like, oh my god, this is what we need to do, and then you immediately flip into your king's energy, right? Because you're no longer just thinking about it. And again, with it going from the Queen of Swords to the King of Wands, you could have been in a contemplative state, thinking, kind of planning it out, and then you figure out a solution. You're like, yeah, let's go for it. I am almost getting a little bit of a boss vibe, though. It could potentially be that maybe you have certain roles at work, and then your boss comes along and says, okay, why don't we change your role? Why don't we make it different? Where you're no longer feeling burnt out, the other thing I get is where it utilizes your skills the right way, right? Like, where you're not taking on what you're not supposed to. But it could potentially be that, especially with these two characters, it could be a collaboration where you come up with a solution and your boss gives it kind of the green light. Now the 5, you got this, the card you got is you got the 5 of Hearts. And it says disappointment. And it says, in Persuasion, Captain Wentworth writes of his regrets in a love letter to Anne, and yet there is still hope, right? Yet there is still hope. And Persuasion's my favorite Jane Austen. Honestly, well, they're all my favorite, but I have a soft spot for Frederick Wentworth. He's definitely like, now, you know, there's so much fire energy here, guys. So much fire energy. And I love this. The on the card, I'm sorry I didn't read it. It says, "You pierce my soul. I am half agony, half hope." What's interesting, guys, is you see how there's like falcons? You see the coloring of these birds? You know? Maybe you are going to get a message from someone. I don't think the whole week is related to love, but I do think that I get a strong sense that the beginning and the middle of the week is really just about life. I think it's either family or work related, and it's just you kind of I think it's you being a tough mental cookie. Um, but I do think that you're going to be low energy at the beginning of the week. Um, by the end of the week, I get a strong sense, and these two people are compatible. There might be someone that is kind of in. It could be relationship wise, but I'm getting a strong like work relationship. But I get the strong sense that like a King of Wands is going to come in. Um, because I see you working really hard mentally, and it's burning you out emotionally. It's getting to the point where it's like you come home, and again, when you get to that point, you even know it's you're just a little too worn out. And I think by the end of the week there's going to be a strong male figure coming around that's going to like who's going to really be trying to use the elements on the table to try to make things better, to give a solution. Um, the other thing I kind of get is that I feel like this has been again a long time coming. Like you're just you're holding down the fort. You're working and working and working and working, right? And finally, but the other thing that I definitely get between these two people is that if there is some kind of solution to be made, it's going to be on your terms, right? You see the look on her face. She's not a mean woman, but it's got to be a viable solution, right? And but I think if it's your idea, if you're ready to take action, then you're really going to have your sights set on what to do. Um, and just one other element with it being the 5 and the king here, you might hear from someone at the end of the week. You might hear from someone because the one thing with the King of Wands is this is a man who is very passionate, and when seen in a love context, this combination can be someone who's really trying to manifest something with you, right? He has his sights on you, right? He and this person might be trying to you know to bring the pieces together in order to have time with you. But with it being Frederick Wentworth, I think this would be someone that you know. And with it being the Queen of Swords, I think it's someone that you might have a few boundaries up with, that you're kind of careful around. Just because the magician is the manifester, but he's also the manipulator. And with the magician being in the upright, I'm just going to pull one more card just to kind of see. Magician, please clarify the king and the magician, please. Just one card, please. Ooh, what do we got? Oh, 4 of Swords. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I get the sense like someone's gonna kind of I get the feeling like end of the week is gonna be a little bit more romantic. I think someone's trying to like kind of someone's trying to there's someone that you know that's kind of approaching you, and they're doing so in a very passionate way, and they're definitely they're using all of their resources to make this happen, but it's almost like you got to think about it. You got to think about it. You're like, okay, the other thing I get is that I really get the sense that if you do if any offers are put on the table, you're going to wait, because you're just again, I'm getting a lot of the other thing I kind of get is that you're showing a really strong front, but inside you're probably pretty. You need a break, right? You need a break. So if someone is approaching you, maybe someone's asking you to go out for coffee or something like that. If you're not 100% on board with going, or you're just too tired to, you can go ahead and say no, or say that you gotta sleep on it. Um, yeah. The other thing I get is that I do think that if you're either having crazy dreams in the beginning of the week or losing sleep, like either that or if you're just tired all the time but not really getting quality sleep, I think by the end of the week that you might be getting a little bit more rest. But this is interesting. I think you might be keeping a King of Wands on the hook a little bit. Like I think someone might kind of reach out to you and be like, let me get back to you, and again, half agony, half hope. You might be keeping somebody a little bit waiting with bated breath, I think. but but that's still a good weekend. I think that you'll finally get to catch up on some rest, and actually we are coming up. It won't be next week, but probably the week after, then when the sun will finally move into Taurus. So if you have been feeling it again with the all the Aries planets, it's a very hot, dry energy, and it's definitely high energy, and you can feel a little burnout kind of quick with it. So, but a new sign is coming soon. So, but all right, guys. Oh wow, all three decks were really good. So I think we're gonna have a good week. I hope that you have a good week and that everything is going very well. If you like the content on my channel, I would be very honored if you would like, comment, and subscribe. Right now, I am only doing one reading per week, which is the weekly energy card reading, but I have been doing deck collection videos in addition, and I hope to have another one of those out soon. I don't know if it will be in April, but definitely in May. And so we'll try to get another deck review out to you soon, and then we'll have other fun themed readings as well. But I hope that you can catch me, that you can stop back by at that time, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.